Hi everyone, and welcome to this chair yoga practice, which you could do as a standalone practice to get into the sticky areas of the body. It's slow and deliberate. Or you could use it as a work intermission when you're doing a long desk day. So you could pause in the middle of your day, do this mini practice, and then get back to work, which would be a real self-love and self-care intermission for your body. I do have a few props, but you can check in if you don't need them. But sometimes if you have short legs like me, or you have really long legs, you can prop yourself up a bit with a couple blocks or even simply a blanket. And a blanket, if you got a really hard chair like I have, sometimes a blanket is nice in the back bending portion of this class. You'll see what I mean. So you can grab a little bit of padding. If you have a softer chair, you might not need it. So let's begin by sitting upright in our chair. I'll give you a sec to get in there. And then taking your right hand forwards and pulling the fingers back. So we'll get into the wrists here, stretch out through your thumb. You might add in your breath. Release that and switch sides. So nice pull back of the fingers. Notice if your thumb wants to curl in, it's used to texting. Stretch it out. Add in your breath. Try not to use the back of your chair, so sit upright or forwards enough that your spine is supporting itself. Your pelvis is supporting your spine. And then we'll take our fingers, interlock them, and grip with one hand. Grip the fingers strongly and pull as if you're trying to traction or make some space in the bones of one wrist. So passive in one arm and clawing and gripping with the other, pulling across. Breath in there. And then switching that, you can close the clasp of your hands and figure eight through your wrists one way and then the other. Nice. It's always weird to go that other way. And then switching the grip of the other hand, so clawing and pulling with one hand and tractioning out the other side of the wrist, of the arm. I feel this all the way up into my lower arm bones as well. Pull and drag across, and then close that clasp into loose interlock of your hands and figure eight one way, and then try going the other way that's not as familiar. Great. Then let's take our right leg up. So we're coming into like a figure four shape, and without the use of your hands, you could grip the bottom of the chair. You could pull on, that's kind of a nice stretch for your shoulders. Bring the knee up and in towards the midline, and then as much as you can, press it towards the ground. So there's a lot of activity there. Up and in towards the midline, and press it towards the ground. Let's do that one more time. Up and in, press the knee towards the ground, so you're externally rotating that leg, thigh bone. And then start to fold in. So you could place your hands lightly, you could place your elbows, fold in any amount. For some, you could even slide your fingers to the floor, maybe even tuck your chin there. And notice if you've come off of one sit bone. I'm noticing that. And see if you can bring both sit bones down. Take a moment to breathe here. You can relax your right ankle or flex it a little bit. Notice if there's a difference for you, or even point it. So moving around, mobilizing the foot and seeing how that affects the leg line, the hip. Okay, let's come on up from that. And then the sole of your right foot, take it with your right hand and pull on it. And then with your left hand, come across and take the top of the chair back, and we're gonna push with it. So it's like I'm pushing myself with that back hand, pushing down, and that's helping me rotate, and then I'm pulling with my right hand. So with the left hand, I'm pushing down and pushing away, and here I'm pulling, giving myself a nice twist. I'm noticing here that my left rib cage is elevating, so I'm gonna lift up my right rib cage and rotate it around. You don't need to rotate from your head, but you might look behind you. You can even look into the far left corners of your eyes there. This feels so good. It's so nice to have a prop to press up against. get some feedback. Kind of just like relationship. And slowly release that. That's good in the thoracic area. Release your right leg and then left leg up. So we'll begin. I'm going to grip the bottom of my chair and pull. So I've got a nice action in my shoulders, a widening across the collarbones, up with the left knee, and then down towards the floor. Active external rotation. So up with the knee to the midline, and then pressing that down and up and pushing down and away, and this time I'm going to start to come forwards. So it could be hands lightly on the knee and the ankle, elbows if you want to reach down like that, checking in with the weightedness of both your sit bones, maybe even fingertips to the ground and tucking the chin there, releasing the head down. I just have a mic in the way, so otherwise I would really drop my head here and allow my upper back to drape and round. And then checking out the weight on your sit bones. Can you even it out? If your hips are moving to one side of the chair, can you widen both of your sit bones there and plug them down? And we'll come on up from that, coming into our nice twist. So left hand across. You could also be grabbing your shin or your ankle there, but I like to have the arch of the foot or the sole of the foot pulling with the left arm and then pushing down and away with the right arm. So if you can reach that onto the top of your chair, if it's the right height for you, then pulling with the left and pushing down and away with the right hand. And again, I'm noticing I have such great feedback for my pelvis here with the chair. So I'm noticing if I'm on the back edges of my sit bones, if I'm slumping, or if I'm overarching my low back and coming onto the front edges. So I want to be right in the center of the buttock bone, if you can imagine that. And then if I'm elevating my right chest here. So I'm going to lift my left chest, my left ribs will open there, and rotate that around. And I'm getting a really nice feedback in my upper back, all of those, the space in between my ribs, I'm feeling like a fascial stretching gently. You can even look behind you, maybe, and look into the right corners of your eyes. So if you've been working on a computer, it's great for you to look left and right, up and down. And I'm just going to check in, is my right foot still well grounded on the ground? And slowly release from that. Nice, and release that out. And now I'm going to bring my left leg out. So I'm opening up through the inner left thigh and walk the right foot back. So here you'll check out if your feet don't easily find the ground, or if you're not easily settling into your buttock bones, you might want to give yourself some height. If you have longer legs, or something underneath your feet, depending on the height of your chair, you can check it out. So you can see I'm in a warrior 2, but it's nice because I'm actually sitting down on my sit bones. So I might tighten my back kneecap, try to get the whole sole of the right foot to the floor, almost like I'm grasping the floor with my foot. That gives me a nice outer ankle stretch. I'm well grounded into the front leg, and I'm really getting access to this inner thigh here. I can even take my hands on my hips. My left buttock bone is the one, my front buttock bone is the one that's really well grounded here, and the right one's just coming off of the chair a little bit. I might push gently down on my hips and lift up my spine, if that feels okay in your hips. You can also open up your arms and feel this. It's like a restorative supported warrior 2. I love this. And you know, sometimes when you're in warrior 2 and you might take that right hand behind and clasp the inner left thigh. You could do that here. Or you could reach back for your chair and just gently pull. Pull and roll open that back shoulder, which for some might be a little nicer than working for that inner thigh bind. So that just gives you an opportunity to widen that right collarbone. You could try looking forwards in that. You could try looking behind you. Let's take one more breath there. And let's turn it into a warrior 1. So now I'm going to turn my belly button towards that left leg, pick up my sit bones, turn all the way around, and turn my back foot on more of a 45-degree angle. So you're gonna really turn that. So now it's like that right hip and belly button are working to face the left side of my chair. And I can press down on my chair there. My left foot's a little light, so if I wanted this to be perfect for me, I would maybe put a little height under it, like that. Or maybe underneath your sit bones, you can check it out. Now I can take my left hand on the top of the chair and again, kind of press down and forwards on it, and that's gonna help me rotate my belly button and my right hip more forwards. And I don't wanna aggressively do that, but it could feel really nice, it could feel good. You could also make this like a crescent lunge, pick up your back toes, tuck them, and press back. And then if I want more length out of my low back, I can push down on the chair, and I just get so much length there. If I tend to collapse there in the low back or push it forwards, can push down on your hands on the chair and get that feedback to lift up. So nice psoas stretch here. I could even come across with the right arm and think about that right hip coming across too to the inner left knee. Grab the top of my chair with my right hand and pull a little into a twist. And I want to create lots of length, lots of space. Yeah, if you like, you can bring your arms up there. Feel this different feedback that you're getting. I'm also feeling quite a bit of work on my left hip. I don't know if you're feeling that. And then I'm going to swing that right foot all the way around. So now I'm sitting side saddle on the chair. I like to have a little something underneath my feet, but if your feet are well grounded, that's great. And we'll continue in this beautiful twisting work. So let both hands find the chair back. And from here, I'm going to, my left hand, I'm going to push into the chair, and my right hand, I'm going to pull. So I'm twisting left, pushing with my left hand, and pulling with my right, and seeing how that can help me get a nice twist. You can allow your sit bones to stagger, like your right sit bone comes forwards and your left pulls back. That might give you more ease in the twist, but try to have them level, so grounded. My feet grounded, feel weight into the feet. My sit bones grounded, and then I'm noticing if I'm collapsing one chest a little, collapsing one shoulder, finding all those things. And then if I want to look over my left shoulder, try looking all the way into the left corners of your eyes. Yeah, and oh, it's so effective, that twist for me. I hope it is for you. So come on, back forwards, and then right leg, and then left leg to the center, and we'll do that whole sequence on the other side. I hope you're feeling all this beautiful lengthening to that lumbodorsal fascia. So my right leg's gonna turn out, and I'm finding my warrior two stance. And my left sit bone's kind of falling off of the chair. So you can prop your sit bones, get it just right, and find this nice inner thigh opening. So you might move your strengthening that right knee a little back behind you, checking out how it feels in your left hip. Could tighten your kneecap and try to get that whole sole of the foot to grasp the floor, like it's like you're picking something up with your foot. So nice activity in that back leg. Sometimes it's nice to press your hands onto the thighs and lift up. It's just so nice to have this beautiful back traction as you sit down and lift up out of that. It's like lift the top of your head, lift your spine. You could open your arms if you want. Try looking one direction and then the other. Maybe with that left hand, you could take it around. You can clasp your inner thigh, or simply find the back of your chair and tug open. Roll that left shoulder up, back, and down, so you're tugging open that left collarbone. I'm checking in again that my feet are well grounded, so it's not all the way to my sit bones, but also in the feet. And notice how that gives you different feedback, changes it up for you. It's even okay to turn yourself a little here. Beautiful. All right, so let's start to turn ourselves into a warrior one. So now I'm gonna let that back foot be more on a 45 degree, turn the left hip forwards, can pick up your sit bones and move them a little. And then my right hand on the chair can assist me in the turn. So I can hold on to it, press down and forwards almost, gripping it to allow my belly button to come a little more to the right side of my chair here. Maybe even that left hip is working towards that right inner knee. And if I'm collapsing or feeling any compression in the low back area, I can also press down, so push my arms down. So it's like I'm sitting down in the sit bones, standing up in the feet, but then I'm lifting. I'm really standing up in the spine. So I can press down into my hands to get that action. And I'm getting so much more space in my lumbar and a lot more stretch for the front of my left hip, which is welcome for me. Maybe you lean forwards and you tuck those toes and you come right up into your crescent. So here my left hip is a little in front of the chair. It doesn't have to be, but check out where you want it. And then if I'm collapsing a lot in my low back, I can also push down. So feet press, sit bones drop, and then lift. Get that length between the top of the pelvis and the lower rib area. That just feels so spacious in the lower back. You could take your left hand across, find a bit more of a twist, so I'd actually be pulling with my left hand and thinking about that left sit bone coming around to the right inner knee, and then pushing with my right. And stamping down sit bones and feet, lifting up spine, rotating around. So good. Okay, left leg swings around. So your feet are grounded on the floor, maybe on a little bit of height. And I'm going to continue that twist. So both hands come to the top of the chair. I'm turning right here, and my right hand is going to push, and my left hand is going to pull. So I'm pushing gently right, pulling left, and then if I'm overarching or slumping, I'm going to get that beautiful feedback through my sitting bones. Center them, press them down, push the feet down, lift the spine, and then find that rotation. Which rib basket is trying to elevate, or which one is trying to depress, left or right? And find that rotation. Maybe even look over your right shoulder, and you can look into the right corners of your eyes. You can also look into the left corners of your eyes. Really enjoy that twist. Going about 70% effort, so because you're kind of pushing and pulling yourself around here, you don't want to overdo it. Noticing where you're invited to go a little further, maybe back off a little bit, check it out. Oh, and slowly come on out of that. Beautiful. So I'm going to come back forwards. I'm just going to turn my chair so you can see a little bit of what we're going to do next. A little bit clearer. So turning the chair so you can see there, still on your chair there. And then I'm going to press down, hands onto the chair, onto the edge of the chair seat, and then let my buttocks come off. Then keeping those elbows wrapping in. I'm not back bending too much here, but I'm simply wrapping the elbows in. I'm going to dip down in the chair and then come back up 5 times. So you can feel that nice broadness to the front of the chest. I'm preventing my elbows from winging too wide and feeling pretty neutral in the shoulders here. There we go. I think that's 5. And then come on back up. And then I'm going to let my mid-back come onto the seat back. So this is where you might want a bit of padding. If you have a harder chair like mine, or if you have a yoga-specific chair, you might want a little bit of padding there so that it's not such an aggressive, hard surface onto your rib cage, rib basket. So I'm gonna settle down in there, and first I'm going to keep looking forwards and then drop my buttock bones. Maybe they touch the floor if you're quite a bit taller than me, and then lift back up like towards a tabletop position, and then drop them and lift back up. Now, to add on to this, you can let your head even drop onto the back of the chair. Take your hands, flip your palms so that they face you, your eyes, and grab the top of your chair. Then squeeze your elbows in. This is one of my favorite upper back extenders. So then we're going to, can even keep your head on the chair if you want here. Start to drop your buttock bones. Maybe they touch the floor or they drop down towards the floor. Elbows stay in. And then lift them back up. So you can adjust the edge of your chair so that it hits mid-shoulder blade area. That's a nice spot to try to get a little arcing, a little back bend in. And sometimes I like it right at the top of the shoulder blades, and then keeping those elbows in and dropping the seat. Oh, this is just one of my favorites, a really nice thing to do before you do any back bending. You could even do this little intermission for yourself before you do any back bending. You can even walk your feet over to one side a little bit, and then drop your buttocks over there and just feel that little side stretch. So spider walk your feet over to the other side, and then that beautiful side stretch. If you had a space in your chair and you could reach your hands, oops, my mic, sorry about that, can reach your hands to the back of the chair seat, then that is a little more stretch for the sides of your body. Keep those elbows magnetized in, and you can play with that. And if you start to tip forwards on your chair, simply push into your feet. So have a strong pressure into your feet the whole time, which also makes it a full body movement, a nice global movement. All right, so to come out of this, you can take your hands to the floor and sit right down if you're not too far away. Roll your shoulders a few times. And then let's turn around. So then now we're kneeling. And this is dependent on the height of your chair. And here I'm going to take my prop off. So depending on the height of your chair, you could be in more of a down dog position. I'm going to be on my knees here. Walk my hands forwards, press them down strongly. I'm pushing down, and let my head fall through and walk my knees back. So let's take a couple breaths here. I'm kind of actively pushing my arms down instead of sagging my armpits. And so I'm kind of looking for more of a long line and length instead of a back bend here. So we just did the back bend. Let's do more of a neutral spine, so neither arcing or rounding. And lengthen the sit bones away from the pressure of the hands. And walk those knees in so you're supporting your shoulders as you come up, and you can put your elbows down, hands together, find a clasp. Walk those knees back, tuck your head through, and you can let your head drop, and then instead of back bending here, try to get that long line again and reach your sit bones back for a couple breaths. Try to have a little buoyancy in your armpits here. So if you're feeling pinching at the top of the shoulders, try lifting your armpits a little away from the ground. And then walking those knees inch, inch, inch in. Take your hands on the seat. Tuck your toes back. And this time go right back into like a downward dog position. And you can play with sagging your chest, hammocking your chest, or rounding, finding that neutral. But then we'll come forwards, press strongly into the chair, and let the hips come forwards. It's like you're doing a chair upward dog, and it's lovely. Strengthen your legs. Just notice if you have a little more space in your back than you would normally in your regular upward dog with your toes on the ground. And then you can play with going back, rippling through your spine into your chair dog. And then coming forwards, really engaging those legs. And coming into your chair upward dog. Let's do a couple more of those. I don't know, but I just love props. I love the feedback. I love getting different feedback from the same positions that I've been doing for, almost 20 years, finding different ways to do them, finding more support. Keep going with this a few times. When I started practicing, I didn't want to use props. And now it's like bringing props in is like bringing my friends in, asking for support, and making things a little easier and getting that feedback from that. How does it feel to be supported? All right, let's come down, knees down, and the last thing I'm going to invite you in here to do is sit in a wide-legged stance close to your chair. And you can cross your arms on the chair. You can have your legs as wide as you like, and then let your forehead rest on your arms. You can walk back a bit. Just find that position that's best for you. I like to have my toes pointing straight up here instead of rolling in. Just feels better for my hip joints. And let's take 5 breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Let's press into the hands, come on up. Bring your hands underneath your knees, draw them in. And if you have time for it, if you need to get back to work, you might pause the video here. You could always do this before bed, but take your calves, however you'd like to get them up there, on top of your chair. And come on down into this mini inversion. So a couple of options here. If you have a really hard edge to the chair back, I would really suggest putting something soft over top of it so you can have your calves simply resting kind of along, your knees aligned with the hips. Or if you like, you can take your knees wide and your feet moving in towards each other. And let's take at least 5 to 10 breaths here. So you can have your arms somewhere that's comfortable. Notice the residue of that practice. You might close your eyes and really let your body sink. Let yourself be supported by the prop and by the ground. And it's a practice to feel supported. So thank yourself for allowing yourself to feel that, to make those steps. Any little bit of release you get, or little bits of letting go. And if you're feeling parts of your spine still wanting to pop away from the floor, can you give them a little more weight? Like the mid-back area, upper back. And the pelvis. You might want to stay here for a little longer. You're welcome to. If you'd like to close your practice now, thank you so much for practicing with me today. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May you have peace inside. May you have peace in relationship. And may you have peace with the things you can't control.